Netflix, we need to talk. We need to talk about a terrible thing that you've done to us. It's called Death Note.
Oh, God. I don't want to talk about it. You have a series.
We want our 2 hours back.
You have this beautiful series that, to this point, I hadn't watched before I watched this god-awful movie. Afterwards, he had to show me the first episode just so I could understand why he initially thought there was any potential for this to be good.
Oh, no. No, I had to watch this. We had to watch the first episode of Death Note so I could purge some of what I had seen over the last 2 hours out of my brain. Death Note, in my opinion, is the worst anime adaptation I have ever seen in my life. And that is saying something because I've seen Dragon Ball Evolution.
I didn't think anything could hurt me more than when they closed the great movie ride in Disney. But that... I don't even want to talk about it.
We have to talk about it.
I don't want to. It's so bad.
We're reviewers. This is now our job. To see shitty movies. And then try to convince you, the audience, not to watch this.
Please don't.
Don't do this.
If you love yourself, you won't watch this.
We care about you.
That's what we're here for.
It's what we do. We care about you. We want to make sure that you don't get hurt. And the way to not get hurt is to not watch Death Note.
Don't do it.
It's so bad. God. Literally, the only shining point, the only shining moment of this movie is Ryuk himself.
Willem Dafoe's makeup, unbelievable. The stop capture and everything that they did to make William Dafoe come to life as Ryuk was actually fantastic. It was good. I liked it. They blew their budget on it, honestly.
Yeah,
that was the only good thing about it.
They blew their writing budget on special effects. It's really the only way to describe this. Light is easily the worst protagonist of any series I have ever watched in my life. There is nothing redeemable about him. He's a whiny little bitch of a character that is very reactionary, and that's not what Death Note is. Light is a very calculating, intelligent person, and in this series, he's just a whiny guy who gets a little bit too much power, and he doesn't use the Death Note to make the world a better place. He literally uses it to get the girl.
His first kill is a school bully. And
that was playing keep away.
Do you know how he kills him? Fucking decapitation.
Yeah.
In Final Destination fashion.
Yes. Oh god, the hokiness of Final Destination was just terrible. They at equal points, it didn't know whether it wanted to be Final Destination or if it wanted to be Death Note. This movie is just so unbelievably bad. I will say that L, for about 3/4 of the movie, was actually a very good character. Now, L was a very compelling character. I believe the character really did watch Death Note and try to emulate L as best as he could. And I think he did a very good job for a lot of it. Through, I would say, about 3/4 of the series. And then even
still managed to let me down.
The writing still fails him there. Like, it's just so bad. Like, everything that you could possibly think that could go wrong in this movie does.
And I mean, when you watch a movie and you sit there thinking, please kill me, please kill everyone in this movie, just make this stop, you know something's wrong.
If we had Death Notes, we would have written each other's names in those books just to stop. And yes, that sounds harsh.
But what on earth? It's so bad. I'm still hurt.
I realize by the time this episode comes out, a lot of you will have tried to see this movie. But if you haven't, if you've waited a week because you're trying to get through Defenders and everything like that, don't watch this movie. This is, like I said, and this is coming from somebody who does give things a chance. I liked Ghost in the Shell. I thought Ghost in the Shell was a decent adaptation of the source material, and visually it was beautiful. Death Note was shot well. Like the cinematography was done well, but it wasn't enough to help a terrible script and lackluster actors that just did bad jobs. Misa or Mia was terrible throughout the entire thing. She was a shell of what Misa was in the series.
Token bitchy cheerleader.
And I understand that you do have to divorce yourself somewhat from the source material because you don't want a shot-for-shot remake of Death Note, and I get that point. But it relies a lot on your understanding of the Death Note universe and the Death Note series to make this work right, because they make up Death Note rules to get themselves out of storylines that they wrote themselves into. It was suddenly, it's just like, we got here and now I don't know how we're going to do it. Let's just make up something new to get rid of it. And the ending of this movie is, it's actually the worst thing about this movie, and that's saying something. From 2 hours, like, I time checked myself 4 or 5 different times in this movie to see how much longer there was, and I never do that in a movie. I genuinely give it a chance and give it the time it deserves, and this did not deserve it. Dude, don't do it.
I thought I was going to be mad if they ended it with, and it was all a dream. I kind of
Which
wish
it
they
almost
did.
kind of
I
did.
kind of wish they did.
Like, it almost looked like they were going to do that that's how it was going to end.
And it would have been a better ending than what they gave us.
Yes.
It I'm
really
hurt.
would've.
I'm physically hurt.
I'm hurt because I suggested to her that we should watch this. And, oh, it was so bad.
Why?
Don't do this to yourself. Just don't. Just don't do it. Let this die. In fact, make sure you downvote this on Netflix. Do whatever. Be as vocal, because Netflix needs to learn its lesson that you can't screw with anime like this. Like, when I say that a movie is worse than Dragon Ball Evolution, take that to heart. Don't think of morbid curiosity like, oh, it can't be that bad. Yes, it genuinely can. It can. It's that bad. Don't do it.
If you need to induce vomiting, then by all means, please. But otherwise, just avoid it. Save yourselves.